Hi there, friends. I'm Halloween. I'm just some guy on the internet. I use they, them pronouns, and I'm not an expert in anything. I'm glad you found my channel. Today, we're just gonna get into it. My first actual video on the channel that's not just like an intro video. And I, last night, watched the entire first season of Walking Dead. Wow. Right off the bat, I do not intend to watch every single season of Walking Dead and tell you how I think about it. I just really like season 1. Season 3 of Walking Dead is the worst season ever. It's awful. It's so bad. Alright, so let's talk about this. The lighting's all different, sorry. Before we get actually jump into the video, I just want to put some trigger warnings in case you want to watch the season so that you're aware of those things and you can come back and easily reference them. Not trigger warnings for my video for season 1 of Walking Dead. General triggers just because zombies, gore, guns, fear, blood. I'd put a content warning for racism and sexism. Episode 1 and episode 3 I'd trigger for self-harm. Episode 1 I would give a content warning that an animal dies. Episode 2, if sex scenes make you uncomfortable, there is a sex scene in episode 2. Episode 6 there is a sexual assault, and episode 3 I put a trigger warning for abuse, and episode 4 a trigger warning for implied sexual assault. Now that that's out of the way, let's talk about this. I really like season 1 of Walking Dead. I think that it is the most real and genuine season that they've put out so far. I know other people prefer the Negan season and they don't like the pilot season because, they're just getting their feet wet and all these things. Rewatching this, I watch a lot of zombies. I'm pretty scared. I'm pretty hard to scare when it comes to zombies, but I was freaked out to the point where when I went to the bathroom, I checked the shower for zombies, which doesn't make sense in any regard because Walking Dead doesn't involve zombies in the shower, at least not season 1, or that I remember in any season. 2, there's no way that a zombie would be in the shower, but I checked the shower because I was scared. Season 1 of Walking Dead, very real, very scary, very eerie, in my opinion. In my personal, humble opinion, but I'm not an expert in anything, so you can't come after me. One thing I'll say about Walking Dead Season 1 zombies versus other seasons is I think that the zombies themselves are a little cheesier. Also, if you're looking for a show that has consistent zombie rules from the beginning to the end, Walking Dead does not have consistent zombie rules from the beginning to the end. Season 1 walkers, because they call the zombies walkers. They call walkers zombies in the captions, and that's the only place that they call the walkers zombies. It's so weird. I don't know why they do that, but that's a common thing around zombie media. I don't know. I don't get it, man. Season 1 Walking Dead zombies are more intelligent than other seasons of Walking Dead zombies, which frustrates me because they're sitting here using weapons and being oh, well, if I go around this way, and they're stupid. They're dead. They got a dead brain. And later seasons, they don't do these things, but season 1 they do, and they have more in-depth rules in season 1. At one point they're the walkers come out more so at night. And it's you ever talk about that again? No. But it's still great. It's still great, even despite all that. Oh, yeah, no, literally, some of these walkers have memories. They show a specific zombie that has a memory of before it was a zombie. It's, trying to get into its old house and stuff. And, it doesn't track. It's not consistent. That's just a pet peeve I have of this show in specific. It's always bothered me because they literally use rocks as weapons, and they have little kid zombies holding bunny rabbits. And the later seasons don't do that. I digress. I'm dropping it. I'm over it. Something I really liked about especially the beginning half of season 1 was they didn't use sound effects as much. And I really liked this because in the real world, if something scary is about to happen, you don't hear the that was a terrible example. You don't hear this building up sound effect that gives you antsiness. That's something you see in media, not in real life. And the first half of season 1 especially, if something was happening and they wanted you to be freaked out, it was just silence and natural sound effects like bugs and scuffling feet. You know, it was natural sounds. And it made it feel a lot more real, and like everything about the first episode, in my opinion, is like the best episode of Walking Dead ever. I might be the only one with that opinion. I don't care. I really like that episode. Ah! That's another thing that I really like about this season. When I was watching it, I was like, wow, this is actually really scary. Like, you know, it's just the buildup of silence. Silence is underutilized in film, in my opinion. That's why A Quiet Place was so cool. Yeah. Okay, moving on. I keep doing this. In later seasons, like the more recent seasons of Walking Dead, they changed the theme intro, and I don't like it. I mean, it's kind of cool, but like, man, season 1, that intro hit, and I was like, I have missed you. I have missed you dearly. It's so pretty. It's so creepy. They do like this weird, like, shaky dolly zoom effect, which is just terrifying, and like they show all these different. It's cool. Okay, it's cool. Like, the original intro is cool. One critique I have of The Walking Dead, I don't even know if it's necessarily a critique, but just like something I would like to point out about the creative decision making that goes into Walking Dead, is they decided to not really give much of an explanation for how or why there's a zombie apocalypse. And I'm not talking about like spin-off series or even the comic books. I'm just talking about season 1 in specific. And from what I can remember, other seasons don't really. Like, I think that the most explanation that they ever give for why and how and all that stuff is flashback, and then the last episode of season 1. Other than that, they don't really give you much of explanation for why there is a zombie apocalypse happening. It's a decision. I kind of like to see, even if it's like a really cheesy thing where it's like a nuclear power plant seeped into the water and now all the deer are, like, it's a decision. It's a decision to not explain why they're zombies. That's just something I found worth noting. Okay, cool. Glad we got that across. They don't really show much about the initial outbreak either, but I really like their use of flashback work. Like, I really like how they use flashback. I've always been a little confused with the opening scene, the very first scene of the show. I'm always like, where does it fit into the show? Because it's like, and then, I don't know, it's weird. It's like a flash forward, then a flashback, and then present. But the present happens before the flash forward. I don't know. I don't know where this first scene of the entire series fits into the show. That's always been weird to me. I digress again. This isn't necessarily like a content warning or anything, but there was a character who I have hated so fiercely. Like, I have such a strong hatred for this character. He is in season 1 of Walking Dead. He's such a misogynist, and he's just gross, and the way he talks makes me want to like become a cat and just rip his face off or something. Like, I just hate him. I don't like this character. He makes me so mad. I digress. More specific things about season 1 that I really like is lots of very memorable scenes. Like, I was rewatching it and I was like, oh yeah, we're in the hospital now, or oh my gosh, we're here now, and like very memorable visceral images that I remember from 2010. Not that I haven't watched it 7 times since it came out, but just very good, memorable imagery. And genuinely very unique imagery. It came out like over a decade ago, and so I think it's sometimes easy to forget that these scenes that make up season 1 are very unique. Honestly, I think that it kind of brought zombies back to the forefront, which I guess it makes sense that this is my first zombie video, but I didn't think about that. But let's pretend that I did. Wow, I'm such a big brain. Very, very unique setup. Very interesting how they craft it all. Like, it's just, I like it a lot, and I like the imagery, I like the scenery, I like the use of foreshadowing. It's not much use of foreshadowing, but when you notice it, and like the flashback, I like it. I like this season. This is my favorite season of The Walking Dead, and I stand by that. I kind of wrote in my book that the intro drags on a little bit, but honestly, again, creative choice, and I think that it did work out in the end. I'm bringing Mr. Rogers into this video. Here we go. Mr. Rogers, when he was making Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, he was very big on this fact that modern media, and this is in the 60s, so this hasn't gotten better, it's just gotten worse, is very go, 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 like next thing, next thing, next thing. And so when something's slow, it can be frustrating to watch at first, but it's like, it stands out, you know? And especially with a suspense show and an eerie zombie show, it lended itself really well. At first, you know, I was too much in my 2021 brain, and I was like, this is slow, I have no attention span. But I genuinely think that it was really good that it was a slow beginning, because it built up into it. There was a scene where that character that I hate was a big misogynist because he's stupid and I hate him. But other than that, the first episode and the build up and everything, really good, really nice. 10 out of 10. Going off of how many times I've watched this series, because I've watched it a lot, especially this season, I've watched this season more times than I would care to admit. Which goes into my next note, that this season of Walking Dead has very good rewatch value. Season 3 does not. Season 3 sucks. We do not stand Season 3. And also, Season 1 has at least 2 amazing characters and a third where you get to see them become who they are. And I love it. I love it. I love this character. They're my favorite. Yeah, no, I just love them. I love them so much. There's some really good characters in this season. There's some really good characters in every season of Walking Dead. I just love seeing my favorites from their beginnings and their origins. It was cool. Also, something that I like about Walking Dead is about this season specifically, is you could follow some of the strategies that they came up with to fight against these walkers and like go out and do their whatever, the things that they do as their thing as the people that they are, surviving the predicament that they're in. You can follow the strategy and be like, wow, that's really cool. Not every show has that. Not every show gives you the opportunity to follow the characters' brain powers. And yes, it's a horror show, so sometimes they make a decision that you're like, why did you do that? But in general, I think that these characters make very human decisions that are actually very like realistic and good. Love it. I just wanted to call attention to the fact that episode 1's attention to detail was beautiful and haunting and disturbing and so uncomfortable in such a good way. Unless you don't like gore and gross apocalyptic stuff. If you don't like gore and gross apocalyptic stuff, you probably aren't going to like this series. There's like one zombie show that I can think that I wouldn't have to put a general trigger warning for. You know, that's down the road. That's the future. Yeah, going back to the rewatch value thing. Sorry, my notes are a big chaotic conglomerate. Going back to the rewatch value thing and how scary this is. Like, I've already said this, but genuinely rewatching the series, I knew exactly what happened when, because I've watched it like 7 times. But I was scared. I was like on the edge of my seat. There's this scene where I know for a fact that nothing happens. I can say that without spoiling it. I know for a fact that this specific piece of the scene, nothing happens and everything's okay. And I was still on the edge of my seat. Like, I don't want to look at the screen because it's scary. They did it well. They did well. Yeah. Super suspenseful and it feels real. Especially episode 1. Episode 1 deserves like a Tony. I don't know what TV shows get, if that's an Oscar. I don't know, I don't follow things, but I just said a Tony because I knew that wasn't right. For season 1, I think that this kind of falls apart in later seasons, but I'm not talking about later seasons. I'm just getting my feet wet in the zombie media review that I want to do. This season has very good use of emotional depth. Like, genuinely, I was there. I was there with the people. You know, I was sitting there and I was mad at the people I was supposed to be mad at, and I was rooting for the people I was supposed to be rooting for. Except Daryl. Everyone seemed to hate Daryl, and I freaking love Daryl. Okay, Daryl, we stand Daryl Dixon. I think Daryl Dixon said like one problematic thing in the entire show. He said less problematic things than freaking Rick Grimes. That might not be true, but I love Daryl. Shush. Don't talk bad about my boy. But yeah, the emotional depth of this season was very captivating, and I was there for it the whole time. I loved it. And something else that I really liked that you don't actually see a lot in shows and movies, and I think is a big critique of writing in general, is this show did it well. This show has where trauma has lasting effects. Like, when something happens, people don't just get over it. It affects them. Like, it has a genuine, like, we are going through this. I've lost people very recently, and it makes me frustrated when I see shows where, like, you know, somebody's best friend dies, and then the next scene they're like, okay, moving on. Where are we going next? Your best friend just died, bro. What do you mean? What do you mean, where are we going next? Take time and cry. And I think the show did really good with that. The trauma, it tracked. The emotional depth was there. The trauma, it tracked. And it was good. I liked it. It did well. 10 out of 10. Also, the fact that these characters have a sense of denial about it, whether it's like somebody's gonna die or somebody died or whatever it is, they might be in denial about it. They might be in denial if they get, you know, hurt. And the denial is there, and it's very real, and it's very believable, and I just really like to see it. Overall, I think that the season especially it marks well in the category of hope for humanity. Not just like that humanity will survive, even though the series has gone on like 12 years or something. So clearly it has a hope that humanity will survive because it just keeps going. But they have a hope for humanity in general. Like, the way that they talk about things, the way that they make their decisions, it has humanity in mind, and it shows the good in people. That's something that a lot of zombie shows, I think, always make me kind of like feel icky, is it's like, you know, the world goes down the drain and it's zombie apocalypse, and now everyone's a bloodthirsty monster and they're pillaging and, you know, doing all these terrible things. But this season wasn't like that. This season was like, we are humans and we need to survive and we need to care for each other. And I really liked that. I really like watching that. This season has some really touching moments in which I cried like a baby. I cried a lot this season, which is funny because this is not even one of the most emotional seasons by far at all. It had touching moments, it had funny moments, usually involving Glenn and Daryl, because Glenn and Daryl, we stand Glenn and Daryl. Season 1 Glenn, don't at me, but after season 2 Glenn becomes bland and I don't like him anymore. But season 1 Glenn, 10 out of 10, love that man. Daryl, love that man, so good. Snaps for Daryl Dixon. Something else that I find really interesting about, like, sociologically looking at The Walking Dead, I also thought it was really interesting in this season. The concept is that in the zombie apocalypse, socioeconomic status doesn't matter anymore because it's made up. Socioeconomic status doesn't matter anymore. Other things matter, and things that actually really do matter, instead of just like money and yada 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 yada, all that bullcrap. Blah. I really like the comments on humanity, like the things that are spoken about humanity in The Walking Dead season 1. I really enjoy watching, and it shows that in the zombie apocalypse, you know, janitors and gym teachers can become leaders, and that's really cool that an entire group of people could be led by a janitor that nobody thought anything of, but he had the kindness of his heart, and now he is a leader, not because he was scary or opposing or like evil and all that stuff, all these things that people say, you know, a leader has to have these qualities. No, a janitor can become a leader because he cares. I love that. I love that message that it sends. My closing 3 notes. 2 Easter eggs, well, not Easter eggs, 2 fun facts, because I love this series, so I know all the fun facts. Zombies? Oh, no, it's not zombies, it's the air conditioning. I'm in a really good place right now. If the zombie apocalypse happened right now, I mean, I might starve, but no zombies are getting to me. 3 closing facts, 2 fun facts. Fun fact number 1, the characters of Merle and Daryl were not in the comics. I don't know if you know this, but Walking Dead is based on comics written by Robert Kirkman. Really good books. Very, very, very different from the series. Like, the themes are still there, but the characters are completely mixed around, and it's wild. But fun fact number 1, Merle and Daryl are not in the comics. And they made Merle, who is bad. We don't like Merle. And then Norman Reedus, our man, our boy, we stan Norman Reedus. He came in to audition for Merle, And the auditioners, to my knowledge, I need to relook up this story before I spout it off as fact, but I'm spouting it off as fact. Norman Reedus came in and auditioned for Merle, and the auditioners were like, bro, you're too good to be Merle. So they made an entirely different character just for Norman Reedus, and that's Daryl Dixon, our boy, our king. We stan Daryl Dixon. We have high appreciation for Daryl Dixon in this house. That's my fun fact number 1. Fun fact number 2, I found this one. I don't know if other people have found this one. I found this one, and I love it. I love it so much. If you know anything about The Walking Dead, you know that eventually there's a character who comes in, and his name is Negan, and people don't like Negan. He explodes the whole world. Not really explodes the whole world, but I don't want to spoil it. Bad things happen when Negan arrives. So yeah, this is a little bit of spoilers for the end of the season, but I'll try to keep it vague. Yeah, I can give this spoiler, because there's a whole bunch of seasons, so you know that they don't die. There becomes a situation where basically this guy is potentially going to kill our crew of people. And they're like about to die, and they end up convincing this guy not to kill them all. And Rick says, I'm grateful. And then the guy says, the day will come when you won't be. I found this Easter egg because I'm obsessed with the show. The first episode, the big bad episode where Negan is introduced, is called The Day Will Come When You Won't Be. I thought that was so cool. I was like, that's so clever. And I don't know if anyone else has noticed it. I haven't looked it up. I'm terrible at this. And then my third point, I just have to say this because it is the last note on my page and it got an entire line to itself, that Carol is boss. We love Carol. Oh my gosh. Carol has the most depth I think I've ever seen. Like, I don't know if I've ever seen a character go have the arc that Carol has, other than Octavia Blake from the 100, which we stan Octavia Blake from the 100. But Carol, oh my gosh. Watching her season 1, I cried for Carol. My heart went out to Carol. I was there for her. Carol was my girl. And then I thought that season 1 you didn't get to see who Carol became, and then I was wrong because I was looking for it. And you can. It's hidden there underneath layers of trauma. It's our Carol, the Carol we know and love. God, I love Carol. Carol and Daryl. We stand Carol and Daryl. Oh, okay. I'm done gushing. If you want to know, that is. The kill count for season 1 of Walking Dead of named characters that died on screen was 6. And I'm kind of almost want to go back to the other seasons and see if it grows or stays the same or goes down, but 6 named characters died on screen in season 1. And I did the math, and not including like a group of people that we only see once and then literally never again in the entire series, not counting them, the survival rate is about 75%. I don't know if I'm going to do the math for every single zombie thing I review, but I thought that was interesting. There's some zombie shows where I know everyone dies or nobody dies, and in those ones, I'm probably not going to give you a kill count because that is spoilers in and of itself. Sweet. Well, I was going to say if you want me to review the other seasons of Walking Dead, just let me know. Unless people are like rallying and pounding down my door, I don't think I'm gonna like review the other seasons because this was a lot. I watched an entire season in one night, and yes, it's only 6 episodes, but that was 6 episodes of my time, and it was late, and I was tired, and I thought there were zombies in the shower. Anyway, yeah, my goal in this channel is genuinely to review every single zombie movie ever. It's an impossible goal, but I'm going for it, and I hope you like my journey. Bye-bye.